Um, One reason is like I'm getting old and grumpy, and I may just be like old and grumpy, and I may be trying to like tack some theory onto like why I just need a nap. The second reason is like, so what I'm talking about is why I think social media is broken. Actually, broken's not the word I used, but you can call it broken. The other reason is that like I may not be isolating variables. So what I'm saying is I may be blaming it on social media, but it may actually be just like society. Like these may be problems with just like how humans treat each other. It may not be Facebook's fault. And the other reason I could probably be wrong is like none of this, like social media is run by smart people. Like Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, those are smart people running those companies. And they, more than you or I, are aware of these problems within this thing that they built. So within a year or 2 years, these problems may not exist. But that aside, here's my argument as to why social media is broken. So if you stop and think about it, like, does the time you spend on social media make you feel happy? Like, does it make you feel good? So for me, I kind of stopped using it because it didn't make me happy anymore. Like Facebook, for example, I would read Facebook and I would feel like angry, or like sometimes jealous, or I would get like really worked up about something Himal said, which is like what he does professionally. And like it just wasn't making me happy anymore. And so I've stopped using it. You still have to have an account because it's like an NIC now. But since I've stopped using it, I feel happier. And I was one of like the early adopters of Facebook, and I was like promoting people to get on it, and I feel a bit bad. But like since not using it, I feel happier and I feel actually more connected to people. So you have to ask whether this thing that's like supposed to connect you to people is making good connections for you. Like if it's making you happier. So one reason I think it's broken is because the system as they developed it was just built on the premise of quantity, not quality. So if you got more likes, that was good. Even if it's like on a video of you like killing yourself. Or if you like, it's not designed to like promote, say like, hey, this is like a good interaction. So if you get in a fight with someone about something, that drives a lot of attention on social media. Like even in the early blogging days, like when there was like a fight, that was like good for business. So it's like sort of built on conflict and whatever. But it doesn't, that's not necessarily the kind of interaction which makes your like life better and which actually connects you better to other people. Which gets me to the second thing, which is just like the amount of negativity that you get on Facebook, on Twitter, and there's even like bullying on like smaller things like Snapchat. Like there is just a lot of negativity on those channels now, because you're not talking to like a group of friends, you're talking to the world. And so in working with Yamu and blogging, one thing I learned is if you reach a bigger audience, you just reach more assholes. Like say like 5% of the world are just like kind of assholes. So if you like expand your reach, you're gonna get, so if you were talking to 5 people, maybe 1, but if you're talking to 100 people, then you have like, 5 to 10 people who are just gonna be not very nice. And social media like expands the amount of people that you're talking to much more than you think. I've been reading this book on early human evolution, and we're kind of like not really wired for groups more than like 130 people. Like in hunter-gatherer groups where you get more than 130 people, they just like split because the social connections don't work. Like the things that regulate a social relationship break after that point. But a lot of you have a much more than 130 friends on social networks, and through those networks, you can like, I know that anything you do on social media can be on the front page of a newspaper, which is like, we're not built for that. And the other thing is like, you can just like ruin your life really quickly now. Like if you just like take a picture of yourself naked, and with your phone, you have like the power to like really mess up your life like instantly. And that's like not a power that you kind of had before. I mean, you can, if you want to, you can turn that into like a media presence or something. Like having a sex tape can be good for business. But maybe not everybody wants that. And celebrities and stuff who do make money off of controversy, who do make money off the stuff, they have like teams of professionals that help them manage that. But then if you're like just a normal person, it may just be a lot of pressure that you can bring on yourself all of a sudden. Sorry. Oh, and the other reason is like, it's kind of stuff like this, I guess. money. So social media, like obviously Dialog is aware of social media. So like they want you to hashtag and tweet and stuff and like give your souls to like Dialog. Like business is aware of social media. And if you think about it, they pay for it. Like you don't pay for it. So on some level, your interests are not really aligned with those companies. Because at the end of the day, like they have to pay back their investors, they have to like, cover their costs, and they want to make money. And they're not getting money from you. Like they're selling you to other people, but their interests are not, they don't want to like make you so mad that you completely leave. But at the end of the day, they are oriented around businesses and brands. And so like, if you look at the US, for example, like I don't think Donald Trump is a force for good in the universe, but say like companies like Twitter and Facebook profit off of that. So they could easily just like cut him off, because he does say stuff that's like racist and like just sexist and bad, and if it was another user, maybe you'd like ban them. Like if he was commenting on my website, I would ban him. So, but then they profit off of that. Or even like the Trump campaign, where they're actually spreading disinformation to voters, trying to get them to not vote in a very concerted way. Like Facebook profits off of that, as in they get paid off of that. So the business interests of those companies may not be aligned with like what your interests are. And they're keeping you there because it's like fun, but you have to, well, there's a saying that like, if you're not paying for something, then you're the product. And that may not be like what you want to be. And another aspect of that is that like, you don't own your data. Like data is something very valuable to companies. Companies love data. Like, because they know that, okay, I can like target people who are 25 to 35 and they have kids and they might want to buy like a crib or something. But you don't own any of that information about yourself. It is you, and they pick it up from all these different ways. But I do believe there's a future where people can like own and control who they are, and then maybe decide to sell that data to someone, or like decide to be targeted for advertising, and maybe even like make some money off of it. And then the other aspect of these businesses is that they've kind of become like monopolies. So like Facebook is kind of like a monopoly. Like when you talk about social media, that's 90% Facebook, even though young people aren't really using it that much. But then with Instagram and WhatsApp, they've actually managed to like expand their advertising reach enough that they can like survive among young people. There's only really like Snapchat out there. But when there's monopolies, like they're geared to like take them. So if you're a publisher working with Facebook, they pay you nothing. So if you're producing cool content or whatever, they don't pay you because they don't have to. And like, where else are you going to go? Because there's no competition. You have to put your content on Facebook. And as a user on Facebook, like Facebook makes money, but they're not going to pay you anything because why would they? They have a monopoly. So in most businesses, monopolies are considered like dangerous, and you break them up because they're bad for consumers. But we like monopolies because like, oh, like everybody I know is on Facebook. But there's a flip side of it where that can be hurting you as well. And if you're a business, it's definitely hurting you. Like Facebook isn't good for publishers really, but we all use it because we're like what else? I think I had one more point. Oh, okay. So the other thing is just like the sheer size that these things have gotten. So when Facebook started, it was like you had to be at Harvard, and then you had to be at like an Ivy League, and then you had to have a university degree. So there was like a certain type of person on the network, which you could say is good or bad. But now it's like everybody. And I guess I'm talking about Facebook more than anything. And the question is whether you need to be connected to everybody. For example, like I think, I don't use anything anymore, but my wife like uses Snapchat, and I see her use it and it makes her happy. But that's because she's talking to like 9 people, and that's like a manageable like network of people. So the question is, do you need to be connected in this intimate way to like everyone in the world? Like, I don't actually need to be connected to all of you, right? There's like 5 people I talk to on a daily basis, and that's kind of okay. And like maybe I can be connected to you in a different way. But then again, and the 6th point I had was just like Himal. That's the reason social media is broken. No. But obviously, like, for you, like, you're young people. Right? I think I'm one of the older people in the room, except for Aman, and Millie might be older. But like, these are all just like opportunities for you, because the first step of this process was like, hey, can we connect a lot of people? That would be cool. And I remember when social media was starting, we were like, this is cool. like everyone can be connected. And so they did connect everyone, and it kind of was cool. But now it's like not cool, and there's some problems with it, and like maybe it's not good for us as like people, which is questions like you didn't really ask at the beginning. Like I remember when it started, I just assumed that if everyone is connected, things would be like better. But all that's happened is the problems we had before are just like kind of amplified now, and they're in this like new space. But at least now there are possibilities to like change those problems. And I was talking to Aman earlier, and like maybe this is a bias, right? Like maybe some people don't want, like we were talking about racism and sexism and like all that stuff as being like bad things, but some people think it's good for races to be like separated. Some people think it's good for like women to be like subjugated or whatever. So it's actually not even clear like what the right answer is. Because the assumption with a lot of this stuff was that, hey, like this like liberal values will like rule here. And part of my problem is I guess that they don't. But one question you have to ask is whether they should at all, or whether those are the right values for society. But now, because I think there are these problems in social media, there's a lot of opportunities for you guys to fix them. As in, you look at Facebook like it's this monolith, but honestly, like they're in a tough spot right now. If they hadn't bought WhatsApp and Instagram, they would be like kind of screwed, because young people don't use it because it's like scary and weird, and it's like using like a database. So I guess if there's a takeaway, I do think social media is messed up right now. And I'm old, and I'm not gonna try and fix it, because I just wanna like have some tea and like sit on a veranda until I die. But you guys can fix it. And that would be nice for everyone. And then eventually get broken again, and some younger people can fix it. God willing. Thank you.